It would seem we finally arrived at the real answer. That was quite a performance by Mr. Atmey. Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atmey.
Objection!
Of course you do. Yeah, take your time. The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim. What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling. Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge. You don't get much more in your face than that. It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite. What do you... It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like that Atmey was a filthy blackmailer, and that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder. That's right. That's why he's the one who killed Mr. But... there's still one thing you have yet to prove. What's that? Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB Security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. Oh, no way. It was quite right. What order in the court? Well, Mr. Wright, this is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Atmey was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night. But can you really prove that? That's long enough. Mr. Trite, I want to hear your answer. That night, Luke Atmey was at KB Security and the defense... Ooh. It's a good question. It's like, do we have anything that can... My attorney's badge? That could prove it. Treasure exhibit, no. Statue, definitely not. No. No, no. Like, we need stuff that was definitely... there. That's gonna prove Ron was there. That will prove Ron was there. Nothing. Blunt force trauma to the head. There's no more information there. That's not gonna prove anything. The only thing I can think of is that, but it's that case of like, ah-ha-ha, because someone was there and pressed the buzzer and they didn't leave any fingerprints, but it's like, you could easily just say that's Master Mask because he wears gloves. So it's like, you could say that's Ron. Easily. No. Just this Ron's testimony, like the Sacred Urn doesn't really prove anything. How did he get it? Again, that just proves that... yeah, it doesn't prove that he was... it proves other things, but it doesn't prove that he was at KB Security. It's like, that's what I need to prove. It's like the closest thing I could think of is the buzzer, because there's no fingerprints on it. But again, you could just say that... Couldn't I pursue the logic of, right, so we know, the buzzer has no fingerprints on it, right? So if I present this being like, ah-ha-ha, you see, because it has no fingerprints and he wears gloves. If he then responds being like, well, no, it was Ron wearing Master Mask's costume, and that's why there's no fingerprints, and he pressed the button, and you'd have like Gadot being like, aha, yes, it's very possible that you have proven nothing, and then I can come back and be like, no, but mate, how does he know he was wearing the costume? How would he know he was wearing the costume is what I could go with. But whether it's going to pursue that kind of logic, I don't know, but this is the only thing I can think of is that. Because it is like, yeah, it's like if we try and capture him with the fingerprints on the buzzer, and then try and present the fact like, no, it's like, yeah, for you to know he was wearing gloves, you would have to be there. This is the only thing I can think of that would prove he was there. So I'm going to say we can prove it. The defense can prove it with evidence. Are you sure? Don't you worry. I'll watch over you as you break down and fall to pieces. Very well then, let's see this proof. Proof that Luke Atmey was at KB Security that night. Do we go? I was gonna say, do we go with the picture or the buzzer? And it's like the buzzer makes more sense because then we can go on to the photo and that being the situation. Other than that, I've got no idea. So it's like, let's go for it.
Take that!
This is the proof. It's true. It is very important. However, I'm not so foolish as to think that we'll pass for evidence here. But my logic makes sense. Mr. Trite, it's time you learned the true flavor of life. The flavor of my special Godot blend number 49. It burns. Well, Mr. Wright? It's bitter. Very bitter. Oh, come on. Come on, Nick. Don't give up now. Do I do? If I make a mistake here, it's over. Alright, I'm gonna say can't prove it then, because that's the only thing I can think of, and it's the only thing that makes sense to me right now, and the only problem is, like, that's stuck in my head as an idea now, so it's like I can't think of anything else. I can't prove it. Just as I thought. That's the case closed. But if we hear more of Detective Atmey's testimony...
Objection!
Unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite. What do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony. That's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten? Luke Atmey is here after we interrupted his own trial. And you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial and face his guilty verdict as masked a mask. No. Oh now, Sir Lawyer. It seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness... Oh, ace, Oh, in the court. That's enough deliberation over this witness. I can't believe this. This rate Ron is. Just don't give up now, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence and... by then it'll be too late. Huh? Why? Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law. Double jeopardy. Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. This is a fundamental rule of all courts. And it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else. Mr. Atmey will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as Master Mask, which means you'll be innocent as far as the murder of Kane Bullitt is concerned. No way. The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Atmey's guilt of the crime here means that he will never again be tried as Kane Bullitt's murderer. Oh, that's quite a noise, yeah. Who's gonna interject? Oh. Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent, the real killer, Luke Atmey, will go free. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today. As long as there is no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare that there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections? Just waiting for it, like usually there's someone. Then I will hereby end the cross-examination of Luke Atmey.
Objection!
There we go. I think I see it. Your Honor, when you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing, and often makes mistakes as a result. How did you? Phoenix, raise your head up high. Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. That voice? No way! Long time no see, Phoenix. Me. Just me. Mia! This is the true power of the Korean channeling technique. I know that it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now she's my mentor, Mia Fey. Now, let's do this. But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine. Not yet. This testimony's not over yet. What do you mean? Your Honor, just now you said something very interesting. You have cross-examined every statement the witnesses made here today. Yes, that's true, but... Fortunately, Your Honor, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks. Oh now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Master Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Ron Delights will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that will the full force of my ace detectiveness. Okay. Yes, but these comments appear to have no importance whatsoever. Very well, then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witnesses made these remarks, we, the defense, assert our right to question them. Is that all right with you, prosecutor? All the dots. Is something the matter, Mr. Gadot? Nothing. Definitely something to do with Mia, then. Oh, Sir Lawyer, it looks like you're one step too late. If you think such falsehoods will do anything to me, look at me. Let's hear it. Huh? It's true that the witness made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. Mr. Gadot, what are you... Very well then. Mr. Luke Atmey, I'm going to allow the defense to cross-examine your earlier remarks. The defense would like to hear why you declared the defendant to be the true murderer. So please, give us one last bit of testimony. Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance. Yes, Chief. The last testimony. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lordly Taylor. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph readied. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Ron Delight. And thanks to the keycard and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. Got you, mate. And the blackmail letter. The victim likely just mistook the color of the jewel. Svari. Got you, mate. I've got you. Therefore, all the evidence points to that poor boy. No, I've got you, mate. You've done yourself, mate. This testimony actually seems to hold up pretty well. No, it doesn't. The witness's earlier remarks do not appear to have been hastily prepared. All of his points have been explained, and none of them seem to contradict anything. It's not a contradiction, it's just a sort of... Could you just tell me how you know this? But of course. But how did you know about the emergency buzzer? The police investigation documents went directly through me. And I always look over all the documents. It's elementary, Sir Lawyer. Are you going to make even more trouble for us now, Sir Lawyer? I will not allow any of your usual shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. We cannot postpone Luke Atmey's trial any longer. This is your last chance. Hang on a sec. It's one chance? Huh. It seems that the party is about to begin. Well, Phoenix, there isn't any evidence that contradicts with that testimony. So it would seem. What do you mean, so it would seem? Listen, Phoenix, pointing out contradictions. doesn't always mean you have to present evidence, does it? At any rate, this is our last chance. If you can't point out a case-breaking contradiction, well, I don't think it's a contradiction, it's just a sort of like, wait a minute, mate. You shouldn't know that. That's not a contradiction, it's just you shouldn't know that. You lose. And that's all there is to it. Cup number 17. The last cup. I'd say enjoy it, but it's coffee, mate, so... It seems like the time has come to put an end to this trial. I have to find a fatal contradiction in his testimony. And I need to point it out without presenting evidence. Which means all I can do is find the contradictory remark and press it. Remember, you only get one chance. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final cross-examination. Alright then. The last testimony, I'm going in with full confidence, which then makes me worried because it's like, wait, what if I'm wrong? Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lordly Taylor. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph readied. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Ron Delight. And thanks to the keycard and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. Mr. Atmey, about this last remark.
Objection!
You still don't get it, do you, Wright? This isn't the time to be pressing the witness on every little statement. I did it once. I'm afraid you're the one who still doesn't get it, Mr. Gadot. What? Mr. Atmey, it seems you have finally admitted that you were in the CEO's office on the night of the murder. How can you say that? Let's review your testimony, shall we, Mr. Atmey? The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit, is that correct? Indeed. That's what I said. My deductions are absolutely foolproof. More like your deductions prove that you're a fool. I'm sorry? Whatever do you mean? For some reason, I'm starting to get really thirsty. When exactly did we learn the fact that Ron Delight was dressed as Master Mask when he went to the scene of the crime? That was, it was just a few hours ago. Back when my sixth cup was looking at me with a cold stare. Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. That's right. The defendant had yet to tell anyone else this fact before this morning. Therefore, the only people who should have known this are those who have been watching this trial. Do you understand now, Detective Atmey? There is no way that you should have known about that. Quite, I knew. You were in the next courtroom, being tried as Master Mask. So then enlighten us. Just how did you know about that piece of information? Well... Come on, this detective must have known about it. He probably had plenty of chances to find out beforehand. And it's those chances that I want to discuss next. That night, Mr. Delight was wearing his Master Mask outfit. There is one and only one way for Detective Atmey to have found that out. Only one way, you say? Please recall, if you will, Mr. Delight's testimony. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. For a second, my client witnessed the real killer.
Objection!
Mr. Delight never saw his attacker. There's no way to tell whether or not the real killer was Luke Atmey. It's with that statement that I'll turn this case on its head. Just what are you implying? Mr. Delight saw the real killer, correct? Now, if you turn that statement around, stands to reason that the real killer had also seen Rondolite. Impossible. Detective Atmey, you saw Master Mask at the murder scene that night. You saw him when you killed King Bullard and assaulted Rondolite. That was the only way you could have known what Ron was wearing. That's a hell of a noise. Sparring? Take a good look, everyone. Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. That's the same line you gave yesterday. But I think there's a little more meaning behind it this time. Which is? He's nodded off. Oh, what an awfully complicated incident. King Bullard was blackmailing Luke Atmey, who was in turn blackmailing Rondolite. And upon killing his blackmailer, Luke Atmey tried to frame Rondolite. He then claimed to be guilty as Master Mask in order to escape his true crime. And to that end, he came up with this plan. To use the double jeopardy rule when making his alibi. At any rate, it would seem we finally found the truth. Excuse me. I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man. Besmirching him with the title of murderer. Don't ignore me. Oh, I didn't realize you were here. Why wouldn't he be? About the verdict. I know. You never committed any murder. That's right. I'm so glad you understand that, but I really am Master Mask. Huh? So thanks to that trial yesterday, I'm innocent now, right? What was it you said? Double jeopardy? Now that you mention it, I've been careless. Careless? What do you think, Mia? As the defendant says, the rule of double jeopardy is absolute. A defendant can never be tried twice for a crime in which he was once found innocent. Then, Master Mask is really innocent? It would seem so. For now. Depends if he commits more crimes. Now then, this court finds the defendant not guilty. Well done, everyone. Quite good, quite good. Boy, this is really lucky. Wait, this isn't so good after all. You see, the thing is, I still am Master Mask after all. October 14th, 3:35 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 4. You did it, Phoenix. Thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yeah, it's because Maya doesn't call on me much these days. Oh? I'm just joking, Phoenix. Don't take everything so seriously. But on the other hand, Maya, she seems kind of torn these days. You mean about becoming the master of the Korean channeling school? Becoming the master means saying goodbye to our mother. Misty Faye, right? Watch over her, will you, Phoenix? Of course. Well then, see you around. Mia. Mr. Wright? I don't know what to say. Congratulations, Mr. Delight. Thank you so much. No, wait. Nothing really matters anymore, though. Now that all this has happened. Come on, just be happy already. Maya, you've been cleared of the murder charges and got off as Master Mask to boot. But in exchange, I lost everything. Huh? What do you mean? Stealing security information from KB Security, becoming Master Mask? I did it all for one reason. For her. You mean your wife, Desiree? She hates criminals more than anything. Come to think of it, she was once held hostage by some robbers, wasn't she? She always said how she hated sneaky criminals. I knew that, but once I got fired from KB Security and I lost all the money I had, she wouldn't have any reason to stay with me. I thought she would leave me for sure. So that's why you became Master Mask. Yes, but it's all over now. The broken bowl can never be put back together. That's not true, right, Nick? Right. Really? Can we go back to the way things were? You'll be fine, and Nick can prove it. I can? Kinda wish you would check with me first. Mr. Delight, even if a bowl is broken, there is always a way to put it back together. Yeah. A sacred urn. Desi was the one who found this. Desiree, your wife. She's always believed in you, Ron. That's why you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Ah, there you are. Miss Delight. You did it, Ronnie. You're innocent. I'm so happy. Thank you. I appreciate that, but, suppose you don't want anything more to do with me, do you? Ronnie, why didn't you talk to me about what was going on? I had no idea you quit KB Security. I never imagined that you were really Master Mask either. Mr. Light, what are you going to do now that you know? You're not going to really leave him, are you? Come on, it's obvious, isn't it? How could I ever let a wonderful man like him get away? After all, my bike's really fast. So fast that there's no way he could ever get away. But didn't you say that you hated criminals? Oh, I only hate people who act all cowardly and sneaky. Like that detective. I see. My Ronnie went and declared his crimes before he committed them, like a man. I just love a man who's so chivalrous. Chivalrous? I knew I was right about you. Every day I spend with you is filled with the thrills and excitement. Desi. Desiree, you really do love Ron, don't you? Nicky boy? Yes? I'm really glad I asked you to defend my Ronnie. Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Oh, well, take care of yourself. You too, Nicky boy. Gulp. I can feel my face going red. Mr. Nick, Mystic Maya, congratulations. Oh. Talk about bad timing. Mr. Nick, how could you? With another man's wife in front of Mystic Maya. No. I'll never forgive you. Never, ever. Oh my. So just as the case came to a close, so too did my consciousness. Ron said a broken bowl can never be put back together. But I know that's not true. I mean, just look. Adorable. Here's a perfect example of one that was put back together even better than before. Aww. Episode 2, The Stolen Turnabout. The end. Alright, so, oh my. What are you doing? Why are you wearing that? What happens? I don't know, but obviously we're going to end this part here then. In the next part, we'll go on to episode 3, Recipe for Turnabout. Yeah, I really enjoyed episode 2. I loved that twist. Because it was obvious there was something going on, but it's like how and why and what for, and then it revealed itself. It's like, I like that. Really like that. That's very well written. Especially for an episode 2. It's like, we'll see how it goes on with episode 3, though. It's like, I'm hoping it's only going to get stronger and better with the writing, because it's like, I'm really liking this one compared to like the previous 2. It's the best way to put it. Like, I feel like they've got better each one. But it's like, this one's just so good. So good. So yeah, we'll see you in the next part. Ta-da for now.